All right, well, we're back on our Hemi, and as usual, par for the course, the head gaskets aren't going to be here till Monday. Seems like every time I order something, it's yeah, it'll be there Friday. It looks like Monday, so that'll be next week. But we don't need to put the head gaskets on until we prep this block, and I'm starting to believe more and more it's looking like I made a mistake in not prepping this block properly like I should have. Now remember, I'm using a Cometic head gasket. I did not use any copper spray on those, but that's another story. We'll get into the copper spray on the MLS gaskets. I think there's a lot of discussion on that. But that is after you prep this block and the heads. So I ordered these Rotolock bristle disc, and this is, I believe, what your dealerships use when they're doing a head gasket change. So basically, I remember my neighbor back in Texas, Nick, he had a bunch of these, and he had taught me the different grades and where you use them. So being that this is the basically cast iron or compacted graphite, we can get a little away with something a little grittier. Now, the yellow is, from what I understand, the medium. The green is the coarse. The white, it looks more gray to me, but this is what you would use on aluminum. So our heads really look good. The finish is really pretty on our heads. I don't know that I'm going to do our heads because they have a very fine finish to them. But I am going to prep this block, and I can see some areas that I missed that probably had some paint or something. And again, I'm thinking we've got an issue somewhere with the head gaskets. The reason why we got 3 cylinders that are basically look like they had water introduced into the pistons. It's usually what you see on a head gasket failure. So we're going to try the yellow one, and let's see how well it cleans. So here we go. So I don't know that I really, I'm not looking for a mirror finish or anything. Definitely don't want any head gasket material. They were not composite. These were steel. But I don't know. Let's try the green one. See how well if it makes any difference here or not. So you really can't tell much of a difference between the yellow and the green. Obviously the green's coarser. I think I'm gonna go back to the yellow because I don't want to get too carried away and lose the finish. So I'm gonna stick with the yellow on this. Obviously I got some cleaning up to do over here where there was paint. Who knows? Like I said, I made some very amateur mistakes here, so I'm gonna go back to the yellow, and we're gonna try to go ahead and finish cleaning this up and see what the finished product looks like. Okay, so I have cleaned these surfaces, and I'm gonna tell you, the mating surface is smooth as a baby's behind. So it's not gonna make a shiny, at least on this compacted graphite block. I understand that's what it is. Whether the yellow one or the green one, it doesn't really seem to make a difference. Yeah, I want to start off with the yellow one, and they're both about the same. It's not that I'm looking for a very, very glass finish. It needs to be really smooth and no imperfections, and I think that's what we've achieved here. Now, I want to tell you what I like about these. One thing about these is, instead of leaving grit everywhere and leaving a mess, it's plastic, so the bristles obviously break off. Where I'm going to tell you right now, wear your damn safety glasses. I had a piece hit me in the forehead and I stopped what I was doing. I put my safety glasses on. I said, oh, I'm about to put my eye out. But it just breaks these off, and of course you don't want them getting in your oiling system or anything like that. But it's a lot cleaner than using the other abrasive material that's kind of gritty. So these things right here, I highly recommend. I got them on Amazon. They're 3M Rotolock. And again, this one is for the aluminum. I'm not going to touch the heads. If you look at the heads, they have a really nice finish on it. Come in here and I'll show you. If you look at the heads, they've already got the RA finish, I believe, that you're looking for with those MLS gaskets. So, no, we're just going to make sure they're super clean when we go to put these back on. But no, I'm not gonna go in and do anything with the heads here. They seem to be just fine. So I think now we're about to get into the oil pump and the oil pump pickup, and I'm gonna show y'all what I found. Okay, so now we're back on the bottom side of this engine. We've got our mating surfaces cleaned up, waiting for our head gaskets to come in. But this is what I want to share with everybody here. Everybody's been following, trying to figure out, what was going on. When we're at the dyno, if you look over here on our dyno sheets, look at where we started on the oil pressure here. So the oil pressure at 3,800, we're at 76. It's trucking along, it's climbing, it's coming up, going to 82, 84, 85. And then look what starts happening about 5,400 RPM. Between 52, 5,300, and then look at this. It starts dropping. It starts dropping back down. Look at that. Now, why was it doing that? So, I watched Joe. Look at the shirt I'm wearing, by the way. My friend Joe Williams at Just Mopar Joe. He did a video on a big block he's building that he's going to be taking over there to Kuntz Performance to dyno probably here pretty quick. Joe showed where he was measuring the bottom of the oil pump pickup in the pan, which you always do, right? On legacy engines, on the oil pump pickup, most of them don't have this. Well, I guess some of them may have a bolt down like this where it bolts back to one of the mains. But yes, I have always measured that. Now, this being a Gen 3 Hemi, this tube was ordered with the pan. And I did something what we call assume. And basically, instead of you, it just made an ass out of me. I didn't measure that. I just assumed that this thing was pretty much set where it needed to be. So I'm watching Joe's video and I'm thinking, I wonder. I'm gonna try and search pictures in. I took pictures and I sent them to Aaron Salisbury, who runs the dyno there and runs Kuntz Performance there in Arkadelphia. Aaron tells me, and I think Joe said in his video as well, you need to have basically anywhere from a quarter to 3/8 of an inch of clearance between the bottom of the oil pump pickup and the bottom of the pan, basically, right? So I thought, you know what? I never measured that. So yesterday, I come out here and I put tape over this right here. I put my Play-Doh on. Again, I'm gonna try to insert the pictures. I bolted the pan down. Of course, this is bolted down as well right now. I bolted the pan down. Got everything all set. I take it off. And I measured that Play-Doh. 750 thousandths between here and the bottom of the pan. I sent that to Aaron and to Joe, and they both said, Joe said at least a quart of oil that you're missing out on. Aaron said probably a quart and a half. So my question is, this being a high volume oil pump and my making an ass out of myself doing the assume, was I starving myself? Were we starving ourselves for oil perhaps at that RPM? I mean, for it to climb, and then was it perhaps sucking air? Because it seemed like the valve train started becoming unstable up there at 5,400. These are Hellcat lifters. I looked at my receipts, and these are Hellcat lifters that are in here. So again, things are starting to kind of, I think, maybe add up here as far as the oil pressure at high RPM, and of course the unrelated with the head gasket. But you guys tell me, what's your thoughts on this, me missing that? So we're about to put the new oil pump on, and I'm going to ask you guys some questions on that as well here in a moment. But yeah, big thanks to Joe doing that video. Joe is a hell of a lot better engine builder than I am, and he pays attention to the detail. So, I'm learning from Joe myself. But why I didn't do that, that just really pisses me off, that I made a big rookie mistake there. So let's continue on. Okay, so I'm going ahead, although the pump looked fine, I'm not taking any chances. Like I said, I'm throwing the kitchen sink at this thing. So I went ahead and ordered another milling 10342 HV high volume oil pump. I'm about to bolt this thing on, but a couple things. It came with the O-ring. So I had a guy call me from North Carolina a couple weeks ago, and he's been watching the videos. If you are, hey, thanks. I really appreciate it. Thanks for calling. He asked what size O-ring this is. I don't know. You'd have to call Milling and so they can give you the specs, but this is the O-ring that they sent. And we're going to make sure also that it goes properly around the oil pump pickup tube. You know, that was somehow on the original oil pump, we got the wrong O-ring sent to us. You saw that in the previous video. Here's the other thing. So, this oil pump is assembled with the red 60 psi pressure relief spring. To drop the pressure, use a 50 psi yellow pressure relief spring. To increase the pressure, use a 65 psi purple pressure relief spring. And again, this does not change idle oil pressure. It's a high volume. So, you know, I'm going to go ahead, I think, and go with the purple. Yeah, I'm going to go with the purple spring. But I want y'all's opinion. Should I leave well enough alone like I did on the other one? I don't know. I guess I'm a gambler. I'm going to use the purple. But again, you give me your opinion. Tell me what you think. And we're going to go ahead and torque our oil pump bolts per what I've got there on the website to 21 foot-pounds. Just to make sure. Yeah. Okay, there is the disparity again, folks. This is the O-ring that came with the pump. Look at this. Remember I had those issues at idle? What's going on here? This is the O-ring. I had two of them that came with the other one. I've got this O-ring that we used that solved our idle issue. What gives? Something is not right. Because I used the same type of O-ring because it went in the way it went into the seat, and I thought, oh, okay. It goes in the seat. I don't trust that. Because y'all saw the thing had like 8 pounds at idle until I switched to this O-ring. That is no good. So my question is, folks, any of you guys out there have a factory oil pump pickup for a Gen 3 Hemi? Can you tell me how well that O-ring fits on the pilot where it goes in? I mean, yeah, it fits in the seat, but you saw the issues we had when I used this type of O-ring. When I switched to this one, for some reason I had two on the last Mylodon pump. I had this one and it fit like a glove. And it solved all of the idle oil pressure issues. So what gives? Now, I think we probably need to call Mylodon here. Because something here, this should actually not be sloppy in here. Look at that. It's flat. Look at that. Yeah. Something's not right. I understand you have low room for the O-ring, but not that damn much. That's crazy. Here comes the red spring. And by the way, I put oil in this thing. I'll put some more oil on this side, but I oiled the pump before I put it on. So we're going to go ahead, and you only live once, so we're going to go with our higher pressure purple spring. So Milling's instructions say when you replace that spring, the torque requirement on this plug is 35 Newton meters or 310 inch-pounds. Luckily, this digital torque wrench we've got, it goes to Newton meters as well. So about to torque it back to 35 Newton meters. There it is. Well, unfortunately, that's as far as we can go on the Hemi today, because I don't have head gaskets. Number two, this pickup tube, there's something going on, because obviously you saw where I changed the O-ring, solved our low idle oil pressure issue. So is Maladon making an oil pump pickup tube, is that pilot the correct diameter? Because the tube, the O-ring that came with it's just sloppy as hell all over the place on this. So yeah, something going on here. Something going on here. I'm gonna call Maladon or Milladin, however you pronounce it. I'm gonna call them next week, and I'm gonna let you guys know what they say. And then also, we've got to set this clearance up properly. So I got to find the part numbers and everything for this, for the oil pan. I'll let y'all know what it is. I remember when I ordered it, the people I ordered it from wanted to know if I was running a torsion bar or a coilover. I ordered it so I can run a coilover suspension. So I'm going to go back and look and see. But I'm going to let you guys know. What do you think about the purple spring? What do you think about the prep on the block with the discs? I don't know if y'all have ever used any of those. And oh, by the way, no, this is not the filter. It wasn't like this when we ran with it. When we hauled the engine home, we took a hard right and the engine moved over and it just happened to dent the oil filter. We got a new oil filter we're going to put on it. I've just got that on there now so it doesn't keep leaking oil. And again, thank you, Aaron Salisbury, for also providing me some knock sensors on our Hemi on both sides. So yeah, you guys let me know what you think. Give me your thoughts, especially on that pressure relief spring. Tell me what you think about the setting of the oil pump pickup tube. What's your thoughts on that? So anyway, please like, share, and subscribe, and have a good day, everybody.